Hello and Assalamu alaikum everyone. In this video, we will be discussing how to perform the process of long division in case of polynomials. Before I start explaining how we go about it, let's just recall how you used to do normal long division of numbers. Like for instance, if I have to divide 26 by 3, how would I go about that? I write 26 over here, I write 3 over here, and then I read the table of 3 till I get a number which is just less than 26. So I know that 3 times 8 is 24 and 3 times 9 is 27, which exceeds 26. So I stop at 3 times 8, which is 24. And when I do 26 minus 24, I would be left with 2, which becomes the remainder. And once I've done this process of long division, what I'm going to do is that I will say that the result of my long division is 8 whole 2 divided by 3. So I write my answer as 8 whole 2 by 3, which also means that as a result of the long division, or as a result of dividing 26 by 3, I got 8 whole number and a fraction 2 over 3, 2/3. You also must know that when you don't write anything in between, that actually means that there is a plus sign in between. So you also have to keep that in mind. Now, we perform a very similar but a little more complicated step towards doing the long division with polynomials. First of all, I will identify that I have to divide x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6x plus 5 by x plus 2. So x plus 2 is my divisor, x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6x plus 5 is my dividend. I have to divide x cubed plus 3x squared minus 6x plus 5 by x plus 2. Now, to perform the process of long division, repeatedly I have to follow these 3 steps, D, M, and S. Just keep that in mind. Divide, multiply, and subtract. Now, how you do that is very important. You will pick the first term of the dividend over here and divide it by the first term of divisor. Like in this case, you would divide x cubed by x and you get x squared. Once you've done the division, you've gotten yourself the first term of the quotient. So you write that first term of the quotient over here. This is the D step being done, which means you've divided x cubed by x and you've gotten yourself an x squared, which you wrote over here. After writing down x squared over here, now you have to do the step of multiplication. What do you do in the step of multiplication? The divisor gets multiplied by this first term that you obtain, which means x will be multiplied by x squared and plus 2 also would be multiplied by x squared, and you will write it right under the dividend. So x times x squared becomes x cubed and 2 times x squared becomes 2x squared. Now, once you have done this, you have to now perform the last of this particular step, which is subtraction. So you subtract what you got over here from the dividend, which means that if you're subtracting here, then the signs of these terms that you got in the second line must change. So this plus becomes minus and this plus also becomes minus because it's getting subtracted. So x cubed minus x cubed cancels out. That should be the case every time your first term would cancel out. Now 3 minus 2 gives you x squared, and then you copy the remaining terms as well, because once you subtract nothing from minus 6x, your leftover would be minus 6x. Similarly, when you subtract nothing from 5, you will get plus 5 as well. Now we move on towards the next step. Again, I'm going to repeat this DMS. I will divide the first term here by the first term here. So x squared divided by x gives me x squared divided by x gives me x. So I write plus x over here. That's my second term of the quotient. Now I've done the divisibility thing, now I'm going to have to multiply divisor with this next term that I've obtained, which means I have to multiply x by x, and then I have to multiply 2 by x as well. So if I would want to do that, I am going to do x times x would be x square, and 2 times x would be plus 2x. After doing this, I have done division, I have done multiplication, now I have to do subtraction. So when I do the subtraction, as I said, the first term would cancel out. That would always be the case, but obviously the sign of the second row terms are going to change. X square minus x square would cancel out. And once that happens, now I am going to do minus 6x minus 2x. Minus 6x minus 2x gives me minus 8x, and then plus 5 is being copied as it is. Now I have to do the same step again. Divide, multiply, subtract. First I do divide, which means I divide minus 8x by x. So when I divide minus 8x by x, what do I get? I get minus 8. X times minus 8 gives you minus 8x, plus 2 times minus 8 gives you minus 16. So you have done division, you have done multiplication, and the next is to do subtraction. So I would do the subtraction bit over here, and when I do the subtraction bit over here, this becomes plus, minus 8 and minus 8x would cancel out, and 5 plus 16 gives me 21. So I cannot do division anymore, which means that an indication of where you have to stop is that this degree is less than this degree. So this polynomial divisor has degree 1, and now this is a degree 0, so that means you are done with the process of division. And once you are done with the process of division, what you're going to do now is that you're going to rewrite your answer. So now you write down your answer. Your quotient is x square plus x minus 8 plus 21 divided by x plus 2. This is how you have actually sort of simplified the original expression of divisibility that was given to you. And more importantly, what you now know is that when you divide x cubed plus 3x square minus 6x plus 5 by x plus 2, then the quotient would be x square plus x minus 8, and remainder is 21. So for your A-level math course, you need to be knowing this process of long division, but after doing this long division and getting yourself the quotient and yourself a remainder, you need to understand that apart from knowing this process, that this is what I need to know, I need to be able to do long division because that's required in my syllabus. In some situations, you can also perform synthetic division. Synthetic division is a very shorter route towards achieving the same result. So if you want to do this long division, you can do the same long division again, just to get the results directly by using synthetic division. But this is an alternate thing, and you may know it, and it might be helpful in some certain situations. An examiner does allow you to do synthetic division unless examiner would specifically say that I want you to do long division, which is why examiner can specifically say do long division, but examiner would not specifically say do synthetic division. So synthetic division is something that you're learning as something easier and alternative which you can do in situations. You have to save a little time. But there are certain issues with synthetic division, like synthetic division is not applicable in all situations. I was dividing it by x plus 2. I could have done it by synthetic division because of two reasons. First of all, the degree of the divisor has to be 1. It cannot exceed 1. What I mean to say is that let's say if I had to divide it by x squared plus 2, then I had to do long division. I could not do synthetic division in that case. So synthetic division is only applicable when the divisor has a degree 1, and also only applicable when the coefficient of the highest degree variable is 1. Like if it was 3x plus 2, then again there are a bit of complications associated with it and you can't directly do synthetic division. Here in this case, you can do synthetic division, and you can do synthetic division only because you have, first of all, 1 degree polynomial dividing, and secondly, the coefficient of x is 1. Now, how do you do this? Just to get yourself your quotient and your remainder, it's a very simple step if you're able to identify or memorize what you have to do in this situation, but it gives you the answer directly. Now, how you go about synthetic division? First of all, whatever is the divisor, let me just also explain this to you, that this is just an algorithm which does this entire thing directly in one step. So first of all, you equate the divisor to 0. Like I equate x plus 2 to 0, and when I equate x plus 2 to 0, I get minus 2, and that number I will write here. Let's say I was dividing it by x plus 3, then I would write minus 3 over here. Let's say I was dividing it by x minus 5, I would write plus 5 over here. Just equate that to 0, and then whatever is the value of x, you write that down over here. And after that, you write down the coefficients of the dividend in the same order. Just the coefficients, not the terms. Like x cubed has a coefficient 1, you write that down here. X squared has a coefficient 3, you write that down here. X has a coefficient minus 6, you write that down here as well. And then constant term is 5, you also write that down. Now, after doing this, again, as I said, that there is something that you have to follow specifically. It's sort of a learning method, and if you're able to learn the steps, then you're good to go. Now, after doing this, the first term that you write here is copied as it is over here. In this case, the 1 is going to be copied here as it is. Then you do minus 2 times 1, and minus 2 times 1 gives you minus 2, and the product of these two is going to be written down over here. So minus 2 times 1 gives me minus 2, which I will write down over here. You're not subtracting in this case, you're adding. You will add these two and put your answer over here. So 3 minus 2 will become 1, and you will write that one down here. You repeat. Now you multiply this with this and write your answer here. So minus 2 times 1 gives you minus 2, and that minus 2 goes over here. And then you will add these two terms over here. Minus 6 and minus 2 add up to give you minus 8. And then lastly, you repeat that again, minus 2 times minus 8. That will go down here. That will be 16. And then you will add it again, and 16 plus 5 gives you 21. Make a small box over here to separate the last number. Now what happens is that directly the number that you get over here is basically the remainder. So in one step, you've gotten yourself remainder. Not only that, you've gotten yourself the quotient as well. Now these numbers over here, these are the coefficients of the quotient with 1 degree less than the dividend. So if the dividend had a degree 3, then your quotient would have a degree 2. So this means that this is the coefficient of x squared, this is the coefficient of x, and this is the constant term. So I can rewrite my quotient here in one step, which would be x squared plus x minus 8. So this is my remainder 21, which I got directly, and this is my quotient, which is going to be x squared plus x minus 8. So, but two things, only applicable when degree is 1 and only applicable when it has a coefficient 1. Otherwise, you would not be able to do it that directly. Let's have a look at a few more examples. Like if I had to divide 4x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x plus 1 by 2x minus 3. So I will again repeat that process of DMS, divide, multiply, subtract. So I divided 4x cubed by 2x. I got 2x squared. After getting 2x squared, I multiplied it by 2x minus 3. I got 4x cubed minus 6x squared, and then I subtracted these. So once I did the subtraction, minus 4 plus 6 gives me 2. 5x is copied as it is, and 1 is copied as it is. My first step is done. Then I repeat. Divide 2x squared by 2x. I get x, which I write down over here. Then I multiply 2x minus 3 by x, and I got my answer over here. Subtracted these two, 2x squared would cancel. 5 plus 3 gives you 8, and 1 is being copied as it is. Lastly, I would divide 8x by 2x, and I will get 4, which is my last term of the quotient. So 4 times 2x gives me 8x, minus 3 times 4 gives me minus 12, and when I subtract it, I get 13. So after doing this long division, I got a quotient as 2x squared plus x plus 4, and I got a remainder as 13. Let's have a look at another example where I had to divide x cubed minus 3 by x plus 3. When I had to divide this, obviously I wrote x cubed minus 3 over here and x plus 3 over here. I divided x cubed by x, and I got x squared. And then I multiplied x squared by x plus 3. I got x cubed plus 3x squared. Then I did subtraction. X cubed minus x cubed cancels out. First term would always cancel out. If it doesn't, so that means you're doing something wrong. Now this is getting subtracted, so it becomes minus 3x squared, and this minus 3 has nothing subtracted from it, so it's being copied as it is. Then I repeat again, minus 3x squared divided by x gives me minus 3x, which is my next term of the quotient. And minus 3x multiplied by x plus 3 gave me this entire thing. First term again cancels out, minus 9x subtracted becomes plus 9x, and minus 3 is copied here. And then 9x divided by x gave me 9. So x minus 3 times 9 gives me 9x plus 27. And then these two are being subtracted to get me minus 30. So minus 30 is my remainder, and x squared minus 3x plus 9 is my quotient. Previous example could not be done by synthetic division. That's because the coefficient of x over here is not 1. But this example can be done by synthetic division. But here you have to be careful about one thing, which is like I had x plus 3, I equated it to 0, and I wrote minus 3 over here. But when I start writing down the terms, the coefficients of the dividend, I have to make sure that if there is any term which is non-existent there, then I have to write a 0 in place of it. So you see x cube's coefficient is 1, and there is no x squared term. So it's not that I will just completely ignore it. I have to write a 0 in place of that. Similarly, there is no term in x, so I write a 0 in place of that, and then finally I write minus 3. Now I repeat the same process here. This term is copied over here, 1. Minus 3 times 1 gives me minus 3, and 0 and minus 3 are added to give me minus 3 here. Then minus 3 times minus 3 gives me 9, which goes here. 0 plus 9 gives me 9. And then minus 3 times 9 gives me minus 27, and they add up to give me minus 30. So if you can tally your left to right, you would be able to identify that the remainder I'm getting as minus 30, just like before. And this is a 1 less degree polynomial. So my original polynomial was a 3 degree one, so this is going to be 2 degrees. So x squared has a coefficient 1, x has a coefficient minus 3, and constant term would be equal to 9. Thank you everyone. I hope you did understand the process of long division and synthetic division. If you did understand it and if you like it, please consider subscribing to my channel, like and share it with your friends. Thank you.